Hello BookTube, Sarah here, and welcome to another weekly reading vlog. We're getting a bit of a late start to this one, as per usual. It is about 9 p.m. on Saturday night. It is Saturday, October the 6th, and yeah, so welcome. I edited in full this last Saturday's vlog, so it'd be this Saturday's, the one that went up today, an hour and a half long. I'm really going to try and rein it in a little bit. I know you guys don't mind, and I know a lot of you say that, you know, it's fine, but I don't want them to get too out of hand. My goal is for this week is to keep this one under an hour long. So let's see if I can do it as I sit here yammering away. So yes, bit of a late start today, as I said. I had a busy / lazy day, which is typical for Saturday for me. So, you know, I got up and I did the bulk of the editing for the vlog, which is taking each individual clip and then adding the pictures, which I actually don't mind doing because, you know, once you've done that little part of it, then I can just sit back and let it do its thing. Like it has to render or whatever a video does. I don't know, I'm not technical. And I can sit and knit or listen to an audiobook while that's doing it, and then I do the next clip. And then when I amalgamate it all together, I'm just trimming it so all the pieces kind of go together. So it's actually not that big a deal for me to edit. But I would like to try, that's my goal for this week as well, is to try and edit, you know, that little part of it, like even the next day or something, you know, or do a couple in one day, because that way I'm not doing all of it, because it did take a good 3 hours this morning to put it all together. Then on top of that, I had to piece it all together, which takes a while because the video is so long. I set this to upload about 6 o'clock, and what did I say? It's now 9, and it's still uploading. The reason I want to try and get it done earlier and get pieces done during the week is because, I don't know, maybe it's because we live in a building, and I mean, we do have high-speed internet, but at night when everybody's online and stuff like that, no matter how high-speed internet you have, it still does slow down. And I find that uploading is always a lot quicker earlier in the morning, so that's my goal. But anyway, all that being said, so yeah, so like I said, welcome to another one. Oh, I was telling you about my day. Oh my gosh, I'm a little out of it, guys. I'm not tired anymore. I did have a nap this afternoon. So, like I said, I got up and I edited the vlog, and then I went grocery shopping, again, by myself. And I did do something new today when I went grocery shopping. I know, you're like, what's new in grocery shopping? I actually brought, like, I always have my cell phone on me because we all have our cell phones on us all the time. But I brought my headphones. And while I was walking around the grocery store, I had my headphones in and I was listening to my audiobook. So I got an hour of audiobook listening time walking around the grocery store. Because I was by myself, my husband wasn't there, I had my list, you know, it was actually kind of nice. I've never done that before, and I thought, okay, I could totally get into this. So that was kind of cool. It was kind of fun. And it was kind of interesting as you're standing there looking at produce and you've got a very sexy scene going on in your head. And you kind of, I always do, even though it's in my ears and I know nobody else can hear it, I'm always kind of like looking around like, do other people, you know, then the guy looks over at you and you're thinking, does he hear what I'm listening to? Is it getting warm in here? Or is it just me? I'm gonna go to frozen foods. So yeah, so that's what, so that was actually kind of, it was nice that I had that, because if not, you're just kind of walking around the grocery store and you're kind of doing your thing. I mean, once I got to the checkout counter, I obviously took the earbuds out and I put my phone away and stuff like that, so I could talk to the gentleman who was cashing out my groceries and stuff. But yeah, so that was fun. And then I came home, I had some lunch, and then I took my husband to work, and then after that I went and got my nails done because these were desperate to be done. They were so bad. They were like 3 weeks grown out, and some of them were chipping, but do you like the color? It's like a purpley gray. And I must have had this color in my head when I was looking at, these are shellac, in case anyone's curious. So these are my nails, but these are shellac polish on them. I'm not a fan of longer nails. That's just me. I type all day on a computer, and with the knitting, I want them a little bit longer, but I can't have, like, the girl who does my nails, like, her nails are out to here. I'm like, how do you do anything? But anyway, but yeah, so this color, you'll see in a few minutes, this color must have been in the back of my mind when I picked it. So anyway, I had that done, and then I went over to the mall to get dinner. It was only like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which is way too early to eat dinner. But I just thought, it was really wet and rainy today. I mean, it's a little warmer than it was yesterday, but it's wet, it's raining, it's unpleasant outside. I'm thinking, I don't really want to have to go back out again to get dinner. I could make dinner at home, but it's Saturday night, and it's like my thing, and I enjoy, you know, having takeout every now and then. So I went over to the mall and I ended up getting popcorn from Colonel's, which is like a popcorn place. I don't know if you guys have them in the States. Obviously they're here in Canada. But they had their Halloween popcorn out, which I think is called Boo. And it's like a candy, I shouldn't say candy coat. It's not like a hard shell on it, but like almost like a caramel corn kind of a consistency. But the popcorn is orange and green, and it actually tastes like Fruit Loops. So it's quite yummy. Last year's was black and orange, and I really did like it. It was black licorice with the orange, and I'm not a fan of black licorice, but I really did enjoy that. It wasn't that true black licorice taste. It was it was like a very, very mellow for me to have eaten it, and I really enjoyed it. But this year they've got the orange and the green, so that was quite yummy. And then I got Chinese takeout, and I just figured, well, I'm usually when I get home from the mall, because it is, not that it's a long drive, but you know, it's cool, it's wet, it's rainy. When I get home, sometimes I do end up, because I'm not eating it, even when I buy it and bring it home, I'm not eating it within that 5 minutes of me bringing it home. You know, I'm feeding the cats, I'm doing this. I typically end up popping in the microwave for a few seconds anyway. So I thought, what's the big deal if I heat it up for 10 seconds or a minute? So I just put it in the fridge, and then I finished editing the video, and I think, no, I hadn't set it to upload. And I was just gonna sit here and do a little bit of knitting and listen to my audiobook, and I couldn't keep my eyes open. I was so tired. You know, it's been such a busy week and, you know, stuff like that. So I went and laid down. I thought, I'm gonna lay down for like 45 minutes. I'll set my alarm. My alarm didn't go off, and I slept for 2 hours. So I have a feeling I'm gonna be up a little bit later tonight, which is fine. I mean, I do have to get up earlier in the morning to go to bingo with my mom, but that's okay. So yeah, it's been my day. And I finished 2 things in the last 10 minutes, so that's why I thought this is the perfect time for me to sit down and talk to you guys. So we're going to start off with my knitting. Like, as you guys know, I like showing you this at the beginning of each vlog. First of all, I will show you what I finished. Not 3 minutes ago. Not 3 minutes before I turned on the camera. I finished a hat. Yes, this is for me. I was showing my mom the yarn, and I have quite a bit of this left, actually. And I said to her, I was debating on making one of these, a matching one for my niece in a smaller size. But I mean, I love my niece and my brother and sister-in-law, but I will never see that hat again. You know, like, it's, you know, she gets things and it's a kid, right? You know, stuff goes missing and whatever. And I thought, nah, if I want to, I'll buy her a hat. But yeah, I really, really like it. So the stitch marker is where I was when I showed you guys last Saturday. And so obviously it's done now. This is a really easy knit. The pattern is called Barley by Tin Can Knits. This is Barley Light because it's knit in a sock weight yarn. Yes, I still have to weave in my end at the bottom. I did weave in my end on the top, but not in the bottom. So I'm going to take the stitch marker off now that I've shown you guys how much of it I have actually knit. I like doing that to show you guys. Show you my progress, essentially. It's a progress keeper, not a stitch. Well, it is a stitch marker, but it's also, people call them a progress keeper. So I made it a little floppy. So yeah, so you can see it's a little floppy in the back, and I like the way that looks. That's me personally. You can also make it so, if I was to roll up the brim, you know, yours wouldn't have a brim like that, but you can make it just so it just sits like that as well, like on your head, right? But I personally like it with a little more floof in the back, if you will. I gotta weave in that end. But yeah. Finish that. That's gonna bug me until I weave it in. So yeah. So there we go. I am super duper pleased with it. I love the color. Sorry, it's really bright and it's kind of blowing it out, the colors, but I think it's actually a very, very light pink, as opposed to, like, you're probably seeing it looks white, but it's a very, very light pink. And I really, really love it. And the yarn is to die for. I'm going to have to buy more of this. It's from a company called Tilting Planet, and they are on Etsy. And this is their Cosmic Sock Base, and this is called Cosmic Cake, I believe is the colorway name. But it's kind of speckly and really pretty, and I really like it. So yeah, so the hat is just a pretty basic, I've got hat head. It's a pretty basic pattern. It's just you're knitting around and around and around. The only thing is that you put this garter stitch panel in here. So when you knit in the round, you knit every row because that's how you do it. But for this garter stitch panel, so you put stitch markers so you could see the beginning and the end of this panel right here that you can see, slightly different texture. You knit 1 row, purl 1 row, or purl 1 row, knit 1 row. And yeah, and then the decreases are really, really basic for the top of the hat. This is a great, great pattern. It's a free pattern online, again through Tin Can Knits, and you can get it in just the barley pattern, which is a thicker yarn, which would be a little bit warmer, obviously. This is a great gift pattern for like if you're looking to gift a hat to a person, because it's unisex essentially. This could be a man's or a woman's hat depending on what color you made it out of. And it's a great beginner's knitters pattern. Fantastic for beginning knitters. Yeah, I absolutely love it. And I mean, this took me a week to finish, but if I was doing the regular barley, the one with the thicker yarn, I could probably finish one in just a few days or over the course of a weekend, because it's that easy to knit. So yeah, so I'm super happy to have this to wear at the festival when I go in a couple weeks. I will be there 2 weeks today. I can't wait. So that is that. I'll show you my sock. Not a lot of progress got done on the sock this week, you guys. I only worked 4 days this week because I had Friday off, and this is my lunchtime knitting project, and there were 2 days of this week I didn't even take a lunch, so not a lot of progress at all. That's where I was, and that's how far I got. So yeah, not terribly interesting. This is Hermione's Everyday Sock Pattern by Erica Lueder, and the yarn is from Spun Right Round, and it's called Combat Boots and Baby Doll Dresses. So yeah, and this pattern is also free online if you're interested to check it out. So yeah, so that is what I finished for knitting and what I worked on. But I'm casting on something new tonight. As soon as I'm done recording this, my plan is to plop myself back down on the couch. So I'm just reaching over to grab it. Oh shoot, I left the pattern over there. Do you know what? I'll just put a picture up so you guys can see it, because it'll probably be better than me trying to show you a paper pattern that's in black and white. So I'm casting on another sweater. Oh wait, I've got it right here. Oh yay. I thought I had the pattern still in my bag. So I am casting on Rose, the Rose pattern. And this is by Andrea Renee Knits. But it's Andrea Morey, Morey, I think maybe. So there's the sweater. It is extremely oversized. Extremely. Like comically, in a way, oversized. It's meant to be. If you're unfamiliar with knitting or knitting patterns, a sweater pattern is based on your bust size. Man or woman, you know, like you would do your chest circumference essentially, right? So for me, maybe this is an overshare, maybe not. I am a 40-inch around. So if I'm knitting a sweater pattern, I know I'm 40 inches. So I pick the pattern that would be closest. Sometimes if it's a 39-inch, like they give you the different sizes when you're going to knit something. Does this do it? Let me just see here. Bear with me. Yeah. So they have like the sizes are extra small, small, medium, large, extra large, and double extra large. And then it says fits chest circumference of 28 to 32 or blah, blah, blah. Mine, I'm actually picking the 40 to 40. No, I'm actually picking the 34 to 38 because 44 would be even that much bigger. So I'm just going the 34 to 38, which would actually be the small size is what I'm knitting. Now, so this pattern, now there's also something called ease in knitting, and I think it's mostly sweater knitting. I don't think you would probably use it in socks, anything that's meant to be fitted. Ease. So your ease can be either positive or negative. If you have negative ease, the piece is tighter, right? So if you're knitting it like, you know, whatever, with 2 inches of negative ease, it would be 2 inches smaller than it's supposed to be, like than it calls for in the pattern. Positive ease is when it's meant to be bigger and bulkier, like not bulkier, but larger fitting. So this pattern has does it say it here? I know I've read it before. Oh yeah. Intended to be worn, wait for it, with 18 to 22 inches of positive ease. So essentially, me knitting for my 40-inch circumference, this would actually fit someone who has a 52-inch circumference. No, 62, because it's 18 to 22. So 62-inch circumference. So yeah, this is meant to be huge. When I first saw the pattern, I was kind of like, oh, it's cute, but I don't know if I really want to knit it. And in this picture, in this main picture here, it's buttoned up, which I think is cute. Now the cool thing is that the sleeves actually, like this part of it is actually tighter. So it looks kind of like bigger, but it's not a sweater for everybody, and I get that. You know, but when I fell in love with it is I saw a picture of somebody wearing it open with a tank top underneath, or like a fitted t-shirt, and I really liked the way that looked. So this is not an everyday sweater. This is something that's just for fun in my closet. And I think it's also the challenge of knitting it, because this is knit very, very, it's not a typical, it's not a basic knitting pattern, let's put it that way. The pattern itself, just the parts that I printed out, is 15 pages long. So that's fun. But you're essentially knitting it in quadrants. So you knit 4 pieces. You knit your front right, your left, or no, wait, right front, left front, or whatever, and then your back, left and right. And then you seam all 4 pieces together. Fun. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. So I'm going to be starting that tonight. Some of you who have been watching me for a while, I did cast this on a number of months ago, and then I ripped it back out. I'm going to start it again because I was at a point in the pattern where I couldn't remember where I was. So the yarn I'm using is acrylic. You guys know I love my acrylic yarn. And what did I say about my nails? Absolutely unintentional. I didn't think about it till I got back in the car and I went, oh, it's the same color of the sweater I'm casting on. So the colorway, this is from Knit Picks. As I said, Knit Picks is one of my favorite places to buy yarn online. They are in the US. So Knit Picks. And this is their Brava Sport, so it's a sport weight yarn, which is a little bit thicker than a sock weight yarn, but not as thick as a medium weight yarn, so it's right in between the two. And it's 100% acrylic, and the color is Seraphina, or Seraphim, excuse me. So yeah, so I think it's really pretty. Again, it's a purpley gray, and I think it's going to be really, really lovely. So I'm looking forward to casting this on. And this is going to, because I'm just knitting it in little pieces, it's okay. I can fit it in. Excuse me, I've got the hiccups. I always have the hiccups every time I sit down to talk to you guys. In my cat bag. Isn't it cute? So yeah. So that's the knitting. So let's jump quickly into the books and then I can let you guys go. So I said I finished 2 things today. The other thing I finished today was a book. Actually, I finished 2 books today. So I finished 3 things today. Oh, it's the day of finishes. The first thing I finished was my Nancy Drew book. I finished The Secret at Shadow Ranch. I'm giving it 3.5 stars. It was really, really cute. It was really, really fun. You know, she was traveling. I always love the ones where they're traveling outside of a lot of the Nancy Drew case files. She's traveling outside of River Heights to go to these different like cases and stuff. But this one, they were in a dude ranch outside of Phoenix, Arizona, and it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. There was a phantom horse, and these mysteries are just so complex. At least they feel that way to me. So yeah, again, 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I think it was one of my more favorites so far that I've read out of this series. And the audiobook that I finished today was Heat Exchange by Shannon Stacy, book number 1 in the Boston Fire series. I love this. This was very, very spicy. It was narrated on audio by Tatiana, I want to say Sokovlo, I believe is how you say her last name, but it's actually Tanya Ebby. She uses, I mentioned in my last vlog, I found out, she uses a pen name, if you will, when she's narrating an audiobook that is more on the spicier or more, this wasn't erotic, but it borderline. There weren't actually, I really didn't even find it that bad, like, it wasn't an erotic novel. There were a few scenes that were very hot and spicy, but the bulk of it was pretty good. You know, wasn't overly hot and spicy. But this is the story of Lydia and Adrian, and Lydia is the daughter of a fire chief, former fire chief. He's now retired, and he owns a local bar called Kincaid's. And her brother is a firefighter. Her sister is married to a firefighter, and she was married to a firefighter. So it's kind of been ingrained in her world. And when she split with her ex-husband a couple years prior to the start of the book, she actually picked up from Boston and left, and she went to Concord, New Hampshire, and she kind of started a new life. She wanted away from the whole firefighting thing and all that stuff. And but then a crisis happens to her sister, so she ends up coming back and working at the pubs to kind of let her sister kind of deal with this situation that she's dealing with, and runs into Adrian. And Adrian is 4 years younger than her, and he is her brother's very best friend. And they work together at the fire hall. He's a firefighter as well, obviously. And it's kind of the two of them having this relationship, but trying to keep it a secret because, you know, it's that firefighter bro code kind of thing where you don't mess with somebody's ex-girlfriend, you don't mess with somebody's sister or anything like that, right? So the whole relationship kind of has to be kept on the down low, and she doesn't actually plan on staying in Boston. She wants to eventually go back to Concord and all these things. So it was a really, really good story, and I really enjoyed it. It was my second time reading it, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic. I gave it 4 stars. So I recommend it. If you like a good firefighter romance, definitely check out this series. The next book I plan on starting, I will probably actually be starting it tonight when I go to pick up my husband from work, so I'll probably get about 20 minutes read on it. And that is Dating You, Hating You by Christine Lauren, I believe. Christina Lauren. This one is not on my TBR. This is an edition. For the Pass the Parcel Challenge for the Romance Readers Reading Group on Goodreads, every Friday you get a new prompt of something that you need to pick. So potentially I could have 4 or 5 more books, depending on how many Fridays there are in the month, added to my TBR if I can't find something within my current TBR. And this one I could not. The theme for the Pass the Parcel this round is Rodgers and Hammerstein, I believe it is. So one of the prompts is, because they're a duo, you needed to read a book that was written by 2 authors. It can be an anthology, like of shorter stories, like in an anthology, that was totally acceptable. Or it can be, when I was looking at like the Q&A, they even said that you could read a book by one author that had multiple stories in it. But the main thing that they wanted was you to read a book penned by 2 authors, one single book penned by 2 authors. And I went and did a Google search because I know that there's a few romance authors who are actually a duo writing under one name. And Christina Lauren is one of them, and I didn't know that. And I've heard so many people talk about her book Roomies, and I thought, okay, maybe I'll read that one. And then I was on the Toronto Public Library website, and I was looking at the on Overdrive, or on Libby, not Overdrive, but it's the same thing, on Libby, and they had both Roomies and this one available on audio, like for me to borrow. And I quickly went on Goodreads to look at both of them because I've heard good things about both of them, and I couldn't decide. They were both the same length and stuff like that, and I'm like, kind of which was going to sway me to read it first. And I actually picked this one because the story starts with the 2 characters meeting at a Halloween party, and I thought, I just did a video on Halloween romance, and I thought this might be a fun one to add to a part 2 that maybe I'll do next year of other Halloween romances. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I don't know how much it factors into it, but because it started at one, I thought I definitely want to read it. So that's the next one. That's the next audiobook I'm going to be reading. I am still reading my ebook. My current ebook is Reigning in Justice by Dolores Foss, and this is book number 5 or 6. I can't remember, in the Sweetwater Ranch series. It is about a woman, and it opens up with a frantic phone call to 911 that someone has broken into her house. And, this Reed, who actually happens to be this woman's ex-husband, he's also a deputy. He happens to be driving by the area where she is, and he goes in, and they end up trying to kidnap her baby, and they get the baby back. And so it's this whole thing trying to find out why someone's after her. Like, this person thinks she has information. She doesn't know what kind of information she has, and stuff like that. So yeah, so far it's quite good. I'm about 40% of the way through it. I'm hoping to get a bit more read tonight before I have to go pick up my husband. Between watching BookTube and starting my sweater, I have many plans for this evening. And yeah, so that's about it. That's it for this one, guys. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care, bye. Guys, I can't talk tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Hi guys, it is Sunday, October the 7th. It's about 6:30 p.m. and I thought I would sit down here and have a quick little chat with you guys before I put on the jammies and crashed on the couch to watch BookTube for the rest of the night, which is probably my game plan. Actually, I have to put some notes together for the 2 videos I'm going to be filming tomorrow that are going to come out later this week. My anticipated anticipated reads for November, and my end of the month wrap up for September. So both of those are going to come up next week. So I'm going to sit down on the couch. I'm just going to kind of type up my notes so I have everything together, and then I'm going to film that tomorrow. So today, I went to bingo with my mom this morning, and I had fun. I actually got to win. I yelled bingo, which is always fun. So I won a little bit of money. That was always nice, about $100. So it more than covered, I came out with money. Let's put it that way. It more than covered what it cost me to play. And then we picked up my husband, my mom and I, and we went over to my aunt's house for Thanksgiving dinner. And we had turkey and ham and 2 different kinds of pie and vegetables and pierogies. My grandmother made homemade pierogies. She made them only a few times a year because they were quite labor intensive. And we would often have them at like Easter and Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff, right? And as I mentioned before, she passed in May. And my aunt actually found in the freezer um, a bag of pierogies. Sorry, my husband just kind of looked in the room and kind of looked at me funny. Funnier than usual. And, oh, he was shaking his head at the cat, excuse me. And, oh, the cat's in the box, that's why. Goran shoved into an Amazon box. If he's still there when I finish recording this, I'll get a quick little shot of it for you guys. So anyway, my aunt found this bag of pierogies in the freezer. So we had those too, which was kind of nice. The last ones that she made, that's it. But when she was looking through some things over the last few days, my aunt found Grandma's cookbook, and it was like one of those ones where, you know, they would just like rip stuff out of magazines or out of the newspaper, and you kind of shove it into, you know, this really old cookbook. And she actually found the pierogi recipe. So that's exciting. She was talking to my niece and I, and she said that maybe later in the wintertime, the three of us, my 8-year-old niece and then me and my aunt would sit and make them, which would be kind of fun. So anyway, sorry, Bernard's crying. That's what you're hearing in the background right now. Bean! He does this when there's something outside. I guess letting us know maybe squirrels are going to be attacking the apartment. I'm not too sure what. I'll be right back, guys. Sorry about that. I just wanted him to kind of stop what he was doing so you guys didn't have to try and hear me over him doing his weird chirpy cry. So yeah, so dinner was nice and whatever. We got home about a half an hour or so ago. And like I said, I thought I'd sit down here and chat with you guys. So, reading update. I finished a book today. I finished Reigning in Justice by Dolores Fawson. It's book number 6 in the Sweetwater Ranch series. This is a Harlequin intrigue novel. I liked this one. It was okay. It was 3.5 stars. My biggest issue with it was, and this isn't giving anything away because it is on the back of the book that, so the premise of the story is that, I mentioned it yesterday, that the deputy is driving by, his name is Reed, I think, and he's driving by his ex-wife's house, and there's a 911 call that comes in, and he goes in, and you know, there's these bad people trying to kidnap her daughter. So to his knowledge, because she's been gone for the last year, like he actually filed for divorce from her, and she ended up moving away, and she was gone for like a year and a bit, and then she's back now, and she's got this daughter. So he assumed that she adopted this little girl. Well, it kind of tells you on the back of the book that it's actually his daughter. So I was kind of like, okay, did she leave and she was pregnant? You know, what was the whole situation? Well, she wanted to have children really badly, and he really didn't. He had a very difficult childhood and stuff like that. But he agreed to try and have kids with her because that's really what she wanted. But she couldn't. She was having major fertility issues and things like that. So they tried in vitro a couple times. Well, after the divorce, there was still one embryo left. She went and had that implanted in a surrogate, which would be fine if the two of them were still married. In my opinion, morally, I don't know if there's anything illegal about that, but morally, that was wrong. That was his child. Do you know what I mean? I really had a hard time. Sorry, the cat's just going crazy with something outside. Just something morally wrong about it. And it bothered me, and it really soured me on that character for the rest of the story. The story itself wasn't bad. It was action-packed. You know, they were trying to find out what's going on. There's something going around along with like a baby farm where they're stealing infants, or they're stealing them from surrogates and stuff like that to sell, like essentially to sell for adoption on the black market kind of idea. So yeah, I mean, that part of the story was quite good, but I really couldn't get past what she did. Because again, I think it was very morally wrong. You know, at least let him know and call him, even though you're divorced, and say, hey, you know, I really want to have this baby. You know, there is this embryo. Can I use it? You know, if you don't want to be a parent, that's cool. I will leave you out of that part of it. Maybe you can sign your rights away, stuff like that. But yeah, the fact that she went very underhanded and did it, I did not agree with. And in my opinion, I would think something like that would need to be kind of okayed by both parties. Do you know what I mean? So it might have been explained in the book, but maybe I didn't, maybe it glossed over or something like that with me, or maybe it was just explained very quickly. I don't remember seeing it. Let's put it that way. So anyway, yeah, so that is that book. The other thing that I was reading today was Dating You, Hating You by Christina Lauren. I only got maybe about a half an hour of this audiobook listened to today, unfortunately. But it starts out at a party on Halloween, and yeah, it's an office romance, so I'll definitely let you guys know more tomorrow. Anyway, I'm gonna go find out what the cat is complaining about, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys. Cat in the box. Hello, Mr. Gorin. How are you? Are you a weird guy? Oh, shy guy. Hi guys, happy Monday. Happy Thanksgiving Monday to my fellow Canadians out there. Today is Monday, October the 8th, and it is about 8:45 at night. It has been an extremely lazy day, but before I get into my day, I want to wish a very happy birthday to one of my best friends, Lynn. Happy birthday, Lynn. I don't know if you watch these or not, but happy birthday anyway. A lot of birthdays in October. Like last week was Tanya's birthday, and last week was also my parents' wedding anniversary. Yeah, and I think my other friend Andrea's birthday is later this month, so October's a big month for birthdays. But yes, so like I said, lazy day today. My weekend, I had the 4-day long weekend, like I'm sure you guys are probably aware. I was off on Friday, and then of course the weekend I was off today for Thanksgiving. And I had great plans and I was just going to relax around the house, and that did not end up happening. I was busy all day Friday. I was busy most of the day on Saturday. I did get some downtime later on Saturday. Yesterday we were busy doing family things, having, you know, the traditional turkey dinner and all that stuff over at my aunt's. And then today I just said to my husband, there's nothing open. We're not going anywhere. We have nothing to do. Let's just relax. And literally I did all day. I stayed in my pajamas all day. I just had a shower and changed into clean PJs. Because my husband's awesome and he actually did the laundry today. So yeah, so that is awesome. But yeah, reading wise today, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I had to tell you guys that I did today. Not really. We had a very traditional second Thanksgiving dinner of pizza tonight. It's just me and my husband. We don't have to be fancy. Like I said, our big dinner was last night. My brother and sister-in-law were over at her family's. They did her family's, they do theirs on Monday. But yeah, so we just had pizza for dinner, and I'm gonna sit down and watch some booktube. I got a lot of reading done today, you guys. Got a lot of knitting done today too while I was listening to my audiobook, and that's how I plan on spending the rest of my evening for the next, you know, couple hours before I decide to go to bed. I typically don't go to bed till about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night because of the time I go to pick up my husband. I pick him up. I leave here about 10:30. He finishes work at 11. And so by the time we get home, it's generally about 11:30. And then, you know, by the time I finally go to sleep, it's about midnight. So on the days I don't have to pick him up, I still try to keep that schedule, even, unless I'm really tired for some reason, because I don't like to throw myself off because then you're just up earlier the next morning and, you know, what have you. I am dreading going into work tomorrow because I was off for 2 days, you know, the Friday and then today, even though it was a holiday, because I deal with the US market, they were not off today. So I'm probably going to go into a ton of emails. I thought earlier, I'm like, I can log on to my work email from my personal computer. Like, maybe I'll do that and clear them up. And I thought, no, because then I'll end up being on there for an hour or so. And I'm like, no, I'm still on my like little vacation. So I want to enjoy it. I will just get in early tomorrow and deal with it on Tuesday. So yeah, so back to reading. I got a lot of reading done today. I'll start with my audiobook. I've got about 4 hours left on it, and I'm listening to Dating You, Hating You by Christina Lauren. This one is really good. I'm really enjoying it. For those of you not familiar with the story, what it's about two people who meet at a party. It's a Halloween party, but it's actually in late September because the couple throwing the party has a young daughter, and I guess there's all these events going on in October, and they weren't going to have time to actually have this Halloween party in October, so they ended up having it in late September. And both of them, this story takes place in Hollywood and Los Angeles, you know, that whole showbiz vibe to it, because both of them are like public relations people, and a lot of like business stuff. Like, you kind of get bombarded with like the different business things that have to do with being a PR or working for a talent agency and stuff like that. And so both of them work for separate firms, doing sort of kind of the same job, but they work for different firms. And they meet at this Halloween party. They go on a date. One thing leads to another. So far the stories, I mean, there was one adult scene in it so far, but on a scale of adult content, it was on the tamer side of adult content. Now, and this isn't giving anything away because it's pretty much on the back of the book, that they the firm that she works for buys out the firm that he works for, so they're now like working at the same firm, and essentially they're competing for one job. the two of them. So the story's going to go from there. And that's pretty much about the part that I'm at now. Like I said, I have about 4 or 5 hours left, but I should definitely get it done tomorrow. Now, when I say the time I have left on an audiobook, that's how much it shows me. It's not how much listening time I personally have, because as you guys know, I do speed them up. I've actually dropped myself down from 2 times speed to 1.75 times speed. And I don't mind the 2 times speed. It doesn't bother me on some narrators. Some narrators you do need to slow down, but I figure 1.75 is a good, like, overall, kind of, basis. So yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it so far. This is my first Christina Lauren, and I think I'm gonna have to add Roomies to my TBR, because if I'm enjoying this one, I think I'm really gonna like that one too. For my ebook, I am currently reading Dear Santa by Nancy Ningle, I think is how you say her last name. A bunch of her books, about 3 of them I think, were made into Hallmark Christmas movies. Now, we don't get the Hallmark channel here, or if we do, we don't subscribe to it. So I've never seen them, and I'm not a big movie person anyway, so I probably wouldn't really be watching them. But this is really cute. This is a NetGalley book, so this comes out later this month, and it is essentially being billed as a holiday retelling of the movie You Got Mail, which starred, I think, was it Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks? And I've never seen the movie. So actually, I think that is a bonus for me going into this book, because I understand the premise of You've Got Mail, where she has, I think it's, the woman owns a small, like, little independent bookstore, and then one of these, like, big conglomerates that Tom Hanks, he owns one of these big, like, Barnes and Noble type bookstores, comes into their town and essentially is putting her out of business. So that's pretty much almost the same plot of this story, where our main character, Angela, she owns a small, family-owned for generations, like a Christmas store, like a year-round Christmas store called the Heart of Christmas. And now one of these big chain stores has moved in, and it's called Christmas Galore, but it doesn't just sell Christmas stuff. It almost sounds like a Walmart that has a lot of Christmas stuff in it too. And Jeff is our main character he's the owner of that store. And I guess, unintentionally is putting her kind of out of business. So I'm about not quite 30% of the way through it so far, but it's a very quick read, guys. Like, I am really, really enjoying it so far. And again, I think because I don't have, I understand the premise of You've Got Mail, but I've never seen it. I think that will actually be a good thing with me reading this book, that I will not be spending the entire time comparing the two. Does that make sense? I may watch it after I'm done the book, but they're not the same thing. It's the same idea, but do you guys know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like it's, an adaptation, or I guess it might be an adaptation, or would it be a reimagining maybe? I don't know. But anyway, so far I am thoroughly, thoroughly enjoying it. It's really, really cute. And yeah, so I will give you guys more of my thoughts on that, obviously, tomorrow. And the other thing is, I finished a book, you guys. Sorry, I'm reaching around here because I don't have it handy. I finished Deputy Defender by Cindy Myers. Yay! I really, really enjoyed this one, you guys. A lot of intrigue, a lot of action, and I mean, it's an intrigue novel. I hope it's got intrigue in it. A lot of romance. So the whole plot of this story, it's about a woman, that lady right there. Oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking on her name, Brenda. This is what happens when you read sometimes more than one book at a time. You forget characters' names. Brenda, and she runs the little local museum in this small town of, what's the series called? Eagle Mountain in Colorado. And she came into possession of a very rare, very sought-after book about some of the weapons and stuff like that were used in World War II. And she's putting it up for auction to raise some money for this this museum. And someone at the very beginning of the book, like the very first page, she's now being threatened. And they essentially want her to destroy the book. But she doesn't want to do that because she knows it's going to fetch quite a bit of money for the museum, and they need the money. The main benefactor of the museum has gone missing and is presumed dead. He is a key character, even though he has yet to make an appearance because he's dead. He's probably dead in this series, but he's kind of a behind-the-scenes kind of, person of interest, if you will. And all these things are kind of happening around town now ever since he went missing, and that's pretty much where this series comes from. This is the third book in the Eagle Mountain murder mystery series, and it's really, really good. I read the second book in August. This was supposed to be my September read. A little delayed getting to it, sorry you guys. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I gave this one 3.5 stars. And yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing on. I think I mentioned a few weeks back in one of my vlogs that I was getting a lot of packages of used books that I was buying on Amazon. I actually have an order started on Amazon. I'm not hitting the button yet to place the order. I'm gonna wait maybe this weekend or maybe when I get back from my trip. I haven't decided yet. And so I'll have another book haul coming, but I added the first book in this series in print book format to that order so I can eventually get to it. And I believe there's more after this one too. But yeah, so I recommend this series absolutely. If you like a good romantic suspense novel, definitely check it out. And yeah, that's it for reading. I did start last night Sweet Valley High, book number 2, Secrets. Of course, I've said before about the Sweet Valley series. It is, you know, trash in the best kind of trash. These are not Pulitzer Prize winning novels, people. These are not, you know, they are just pure, unadulterated fun. And they're campy and they're cheesy and, you know, I love them. So this one is about Enid, Elizabeth's best friend, who is the good twin, if you want to label them as that, has this dark past. And of course, everybody's kind of running for the Autumn Queen, King and Queen, or Homecoming King and Queen or something. And she is actually up for, Enid is actually up for this award, I guess, if you want to call it that. And, you know, the secret's going to be revealed and that kind of thing. It's a teenage soap opera. It's just campy and fun. So before I let you guys go, I meant to show you these, but I completely forgot because I opened mail without you guys. I opened fun mail without you guys. But I can't show you everything that I got. I think I mentioned this before as well. I ordered some of these for some of my friends that I'm going to see next week. Yeah, it is next week. Late next week, I'm on vacation. Yay! And so is the hubby. He's on vacation too. He's having a staycation. He booked the same days off as me. He's doing a little dance in his seat right now. Because it's just easier. Somebody asked me in, sorry, my hair's so floofy when I get out of the shower, when I dry it a little bit. They asked me about, because I always mention that I have to go pick him up from work. He does take the bus to work. He takes the bus to work and then I pick him up, because if not, it'll be hours before he gets home. We're going to start saving some money. He wants to get an e-bike to ride to and from work. So, so that's like maybe in the spring, we'll see. But anyway, yeah, so, because of, like I said, for him to come home when I'm not here because he doesn't have a driver's license, and we only do have the one vehicle. So even if he did drive, the vehicle's coming with me. I kind of need it to go on my trip. It would be hours for him to get home. And we did it last summer when I went to Chicago. For like, I think I was there for like 3 days, and because it was last minute, he didn't have any more vacation time he could book off, so he ended up like taking the bus home. And I think it was like, what, 1 o'clock in the morning by the time you got home. He's not nodding his head at me. Yeah, like, and he finishes at 11. That's late. That's you're tired, you just want to get home. And plus, traveling public transit at that time of night makes me nervous. So, you know, anyway, long story short, where was I going with this? My trip. I bought some of these for my friends that I am going to be putting in their kind of I'm doing up little like gift bags for the girls that are staying with me in my cabin, and a couple smaller little gift bags for some of the other girls that I'm going to see while I'm there in our group, but little slightly bigger bags for the girls I'm actually rooming with in the cabin. And I found these bookmarks, and I got them different bookmarks, but they all kind of match like their likes and stuff like that. So if they are watching this before I actually see them next week, a little spoiler alert for, you know, one of the things you're going to get is going to be a bookmark, but you're not going to know what it is. So I got these off a company called, sorry, I meant to grab this too, called SJ Wonderlands, and that's with a Z. I'll try and remember to link them in the description box of this video. If I forget to do it and you guys are interested, please just shoot me a message and I will definitely send you their Etsy shop. But there's their business card. I don't know if it'll focus on that or not. Let me see, hold on. A little bit, but not really. Sorry for my finger there on that one. I have to kind of tap the screen to show it where it needs to focus. So yeah, SJ Wonderlands with a Z, and they are on Etsy, like I said. They have a lot of fandom type bookmarks. A lot of Harry Potter, a lot of Gilmore Girls, What else? Anne of Green Gables I saw on there, and a bunch of stuff. So go and check it out. And they've got like normal ones too, ones that are not fandom ones. And there's a couple more I actually have in my cart I'm going to buy. They're very, very reasonable and they're really super cute. So I'll show you the two that I got. Again, I don't know if these are going to focus and you're going to be able to see what they say, but I'll tell you what they say. So this is the first one I got, and it is a Gilmore Girls inspired bookmark, if you can't tell from like the Lukes it says right there and Dragonfly Inn. I only just started watching Gilmore Girls. I never watched it when it was on television. I've been kind of watching it. I haven't watched it in a couple months, but I do really enjoy the show. I think I'm into season 2, so I'm going to have to continue on. But this says, I can't stop drinking the coffee. I stopped drinking the coffee. I stopped doing the standing and the walking and the words putting into sentence doing. I was not a coffee person until a couple years ago, and now I need it. The other morning, it took me 3 tries to get the Keurig to work so I could have a coffee. You need a coffee prior to making the coffee. Or I need a Keurig that'll just start and, you know, brew on its own. So yeah, so I got that one. And then the other one that I got for myself, I just thought was really, really pretty. Just these books with this little cup up here. And it says, you can't read all day if you don't start in the morning. So I just thought that was really cute. And like I said, really affordable. Canadian, they're less than $3 each, plus shipping. So, you know, very, very affordable. So like I said, I will try my best. I'll leave a note to myself to remember to put the link to her shop in the description box of this video. But if I forget, please just shoot me a message if you're interested. Anyway, guys, that's it. I've talked long enough for this little clip. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys. Hi, guys. Today is October the 9th, and it is about 20 after 8 at night. I've been home for about an hour or so. I was just updating my Goodreads and all that stuff because I finished another book today, and I didn't update Goodreads for the book that I finished yesterday, so I wanted to do that as well. But I am leaning against something right now because I finally went and picked up my David's Tea delivery at Purolator. So I thought that we would start with me opening this up and showing it to you. On my last vlog, I talked about this order, so I'm super, super excited to finally get it and to finally get my hands on what's in here. So, pardon me for the tape. Bless you. My hubby's home. He's usually at work on Tuesdays, but both of us were sick this morning. He was a lot more sick than I was. I was able to actually go to work. We think it was dinner last night. At least I think it was dinner last night. So that was unpleasant. Not the best way to start your work week. What have I got here? Ooh, my freebies. You always get freebies. Freebie tea. Like samples, essentially. So I got green passion fruit. I have not tried this one. Looks good. Strawberry rhubarb parfait. I must have a million of these. And Forever Nuts, which I really don't care for. It's very nutty. And I'm not big on nuts in my tea. Oh, what's this? 55% off coupon for HelloFresh. I guess maybe they're working together? I don't know. I got excited. I thought it was 55% off like a David's Tea order. I was like, oh, I'm going to order more stuff now. But no. Bill, don't need it. The packaging is insane, you guys. Like, this is the size of the box, okay? Like, wait till you see what's in here. It's, like, mostly, like, this stuff. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Far too much packaging. I really think that they could go down to just using, I'll show that last. They could go down to using, like, big envelopes or something, I guess. I don't know. Ooh, another tin. I can always use another tin. Those are great. That can stay there. So, sorry, trying to reach into this box. It's not easy. I'll throw this stuff over here. Okay, so here's what I got. Okay, so I got 2 of this and 1 of this. Okay, so I got some tea, obviously. The cool thing about David's is that they do have like a rewards program that's free to join. And every 3 months, they tally up how much you spent. And depending on how many points you have, for every 100 points, you get a free 50-gram bag of tea, or for my US friends, 2 ounces, I believe, is what it is. So it's about this size, a package about this size. And the first one that I got, this was my freebie. It's Witch's Brew, and it is the Halloween, one of the Halloween ones. And it is a rooibos tea. It is cocoa beans and spooky candy. Make this tea taste sweet and dandy. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn, and teapot bubble. So this one is really, really yummy. I don't want to open it because I've already got one open in my cupboard, but it's literally got little candy pieces that look like little bats and witches' hats. It's adorable. It smells so good when it's brewing, and I highly recommend it if you like a rooibos tea. The other one I got 100 grams of it, which is why I got the free tin. You always get a free tin if you get 100 grams of something. And they also give you, because, you know, you might not necessarily just use the tin for this, but they give you the sticker to stick on it if you want. So you've got the information on what's actually in there. So this is the white chocolate chai. This is so good. It is a black tea. I'm not generally a fan of chai tea. I shouldn't say that because I love the pumpkin chai too. But I know you're supposed to put milk in chai tea. I do not. I drink it black. I drink all my tea without anything in it. No sugar, no milk, no anything like that. So this one is, our hunt for the perfect white chocolate chai is finally over. And with its balance of creamy sweetness and warming spices, this black tea blend is even better than we imagined. So it's black tea, ginger, cinnamon, cocoa nibs, white chocolate curls, cardamom, cloves, cocoa powder, stevia extract, natural and artificial white chocolate flavoring. And it says contains milk and soy. That one's really, really good. I really enjoy that one. So that's why I got 100 grams of it. So the other thing that I got that I'm super excited about that you guys are going to get to see every day, starting on, it probably won't be the 21st because I'll be away on vacation on that day, but I might just do a double day, like when I get back on the Monday night, I will like double up and show you guys what is in here. Hold on, I'm just trying to open it up. So every year, I think I've mentioned, they put out the Advent calendar, which I am hunting out, waiting for the email to come to tell me I can go ahead and order it, because I've gotten one every year for the past 5 years. And essentially it is a Advent calendar, a Christmas Advent calendar, and every day you get to open it up and there's a new tea inside. Well, they brought this out this year for the first time, and it is the Creepy Countdown. And it is tricks, treats, and teas. And it goes for 10 days, so it goes from the 21st to the 31st, if that's, you know, what you want to do. And essentially what it contains is 5 different teas and 5 different chocolates. So depending on the day, you get a different tea or a different chocolate. I will show you guys the inside. So look, it's got the numbers, just like an Advent calendar at Christmas time. And I just think this is just awesome. And it was 20 bucks. And I thought, why not? Because some of these teas I have not had, and it's kind of a nice way to get to try them. The only one there's 2 out of the 5 that I've had, and I really enjoy both of them, so that's good. So the teas, it says, can't wait for All Hallows Eve, savor every suspenseful second with this creeptastic countdown. With a delicious spooky tea or tea-infused chocolate lurking behind each door, it's the very best way to get into the monster mood. Open if you dare. So the teas are pumpkin chai, which I've mentioned is so, so good. A sweet black tea spiced with caramel, pumpkin candies, cinnamon, and cloves. Then there's s'mores chai, which I have not tried, and it's attempting a purity, P-U''ERHT. I'm not familiar with that one. With toasted marshmallow, graham cracker, and chocolate. Then there's Monster Mash, which is also a rooibos. It says, bursting with pumpkin, this warming cinnamon rooibos is a graveyard smash. Sounds kind of like the Witch's Brew a little bit. And then there is Magic Potion, which is a fruit infusion tea. It says this magical blend of berries and butterfly pea flowers changes color with lemon juice. It's really neat. So it's like green or blue, and then I think it's blue. And then when you add a little bit of lemon juice to it, it turns purple. And it's so, so yummy. I believe it's now part of their regular line. So it's not just out at Halloween, and it's really good cold. Just saying. And the last one is Mother's Little Helper. Drift away with this relaxing blend of peppermint, lemongrass, and valerian root. Am I saying that correctly? And that's another herbal tea, so that's really good. And then the chocolates are milk chocolate with pumpkin chai, dark chocolate with cream of Earl Grey. That one, I might pass on that one. I am not a fan of Earl Grey, and I'm also not a fan of dark chocolate, but I'll try it. It's probably just a little chocolate. Milk chocolate with chocolate macaroon. White chocolate with strawberry rhubarb parfait. White chocolate is my favorite. I know. You chocolate purists out there, white chocolate isn't a thing. It's not a real thing, but it's my favorite. And milk chocolate with English toffee. So yes, so this is going to be fantastic. So like I said, I'll be away on the 21st. I'll still be out of the country. I'll be driving home on the 22nd. So actually, wait a minute. Would it be the 20? No, it would be the 22nd I would start this, which would be Monday. So I will be home to start this. So I won't miss a day, which is very exciting. So when I start back up the vlog again after my vacation on the Monday, I can show you guys and open one of these as I go. And I'll be doing the same thing in December as well with the Advent calendar and opening one every day. So that's going to be super fun. So enough about tea. Let's get into the books. So, I finished a book today, you guys. I actually got home and I had 7 minutes left on the audiobook, and I sat down here in my chair and just detoxed, let my mind go, and enjoyed my audiobook. I actually took an even slightly longer way home just so I could finish it. Didn't quite get there. But I finished Dating You, Hating You by Christina Lauren. This was narrated on audio by, oh my gosh, Deacon Lee, I think was the guy's name, and I want to say Shannon Thibodeau, but it might be a different first name. Both of them did a really good job on the audio. I loved this story. I thought it was fantastic. It was an office romance about two people who worked for competing talent agencies in Hollywood. It's very, very Hollywood. Keep that in mind. A lot of, movie star stuff is talked about. A lot of, industry stuff is talked about and all that kind of thing. So it's very heavy on that too. But I mean, with the nature of what it is that they do, that plays a big deal into the story. So they work at like different agencies, and then the agencies end up merging, and now they're competing with each other for their jobs. And the relationship hadn't even really started. They had like one date, nothing too something spectacular happened. Well, something happened. Let's just go there. It was a really good first date. So anyway, now they're kind of competing with each other for this job, and there's this great whole section like throughout most of the second half of the book where they're like pulling these pranks on each other, and some of them are just brilliant. Like the one, she gives him what he thinks is a candy apple, and he thinks it's from somebody else, and it's actually like a chocolate covered onion, stuff like that. Nothing malicious or too dangerous, but just kind of, and it did, and I'm glad it ended when it did, because it could have gone a little too much. Then there's this whole like, I don't want to say mystery aspect of it, but this whole thing going on with their boss Brad, and kind of the underhanded things that are happening, and the two of them end up kind of working together to figure out what's going on. It was really, really good. I am so glad I got to read it. I read this for the Pass the Parcel challenge for week 5, which I think I mentioned you had to read an author that what they really wanted was like an author duo, and Christina Lauren is an author duo. It's two people who write under that same name. So absolutely recommend this one. I'm definitely now putting Roomies which is another book by them, on my list, on my TBR to read. And yeah, so I really enjoyed it. Print book. I did get some more of my print book read, or not my print book, my ebook read today, and that is Dear Santa by Nancy Ningle. I am really enjoying it. It's really cute. I still don't have a lot of thoughts on it. I'm only about 60% of the way through it. But yeah, I should get that done in the next few days. And it's a fun, cute winter read. Fantastic winter book. Absolutely if you're looking for a great Christmas book, this one definitely fits the bill. And, my print book. I started a new one. Excuse me, I'm reaching around here. I started a new print book today. I am reading Out of Bounds by Ellen Hartman. This is a Harlequin super romance novel, and this is essentially a basketball romance. He was a basketball player, not with the NBA or anything like that, but he didn't make the NBA. He was playing for in Europe or something. He was playing in Spain, and he was getting back after a shoulder injury. And right at the very beginning of the book, I'm 20 pages into it so far, he's injured his shoulder again, and he can no longer play. So he is being sent, not being sent, but his brother kind of runs this foundation, and he's kind of help you get back on your feet. I'm going to give you a job kind of idea. And I guess he meets this woman, but like I said, I'm 20 pages in, so I'm really not too sure yet. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So far, so good. And yeah, so that is it for today, you guys. Not too much else interesting and exciting. It was Tuesday. After having Friday off of work and having Monday off of work for Thanksgiving, today was hectic. I walked into well over 200 emails in my inbox, and it's busy. And that's fine. You know what? Let it be busy. I will A, take the overtime. I've said this before, and B, it makes the days go really fast. And because next week I'm on vacation, and I can't wait. So anyway, that's it for me today, guys. I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye. Hi guys, today is Wednesday, October the 10th, and it is almost 9:30 at night. I've been home for a couple hours. I came home, I did some things around the house, a little tidying up, I had my shower, and then I sat here and I relaxed. I was reading for a bit, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to do a quick clip update. So here I am. No. Hi guys, today is Wednesday, October the 10th, and it's about 9:30 at night. I've been home for a couple of hours, excuse me. I came home, I did a little bit of tidying up around the apartment, had my shower, and then I was plopped in on the couch. I was, updating a few things on my on the library, a couple books that I had checked out, like digital, my audiobooks. Hi guys, today is Wednesday, October the 10th. It is about 9:30 at night. I almost said it was December. Sure as heck doesn't feel like December, let me tell you. It was 25 degrees Celsius today, which is roughly, what is it, double it and add 30, 56, about 80 degrees for my American friends. Yeah, that is ridiculous for the month of October. The Nothing knows what it's doing. Nature is totally thrown for a loop. People are walking around in shorts and t-shirts, yet the leaves are changing color. So it's just a little bit ridiculous. I'm done with it. To be completely honest, I've said this before. I am done with the heat. So anyway, it's supposed to be warm again tomorrow, and then on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it dips right down. We go from, like I said, it was about 25 today. On Saturday, I think it's gonna be a high of 10, which is double it and add 30. That's about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So much more manageable for October. I spent all of my time knitting that sweater for my trip next week. I want it to be cool enough to actually wear it outside without sweating to death. So here's fingers crossed it gets cool. So anyway, I'm trying to make this a quick clip because I want to watch some more booktube, and I want to do a little bit of knitting tonight. So reading today. For my audiobook, I have started reading, oh my gosh, what is that book called? All the Missing Girls, I think it's called. There'll be a picture of it here. And it's by Megan Miranda. This is a thriller. And I'm really enjoying it. Thrillers are not something I typically delve into, but this one got added to my TBR. I think this was for my What to Read challenge for 2018. And essentially this story is about a woman who is in her late 20s. She's 28. 10 years earlier, she left home. She graduated from high school, packed up, and went to the big city. It sounds like I think it's West Virginia is where it takes place, like the foothills of the Appalachians kind of idea, a very small town. And when she was 18, just after they graduated, her best friend that they've been best friends since they were kids disappeared one night. And she's never been found. So missing, presumed dead, I'm assuming, or from what I'm getting from reading the book. And now she's back in town, and she is there to help sell her father's house. Her father is ill, and he is in an assisted living facility. It sounds like he's got some sort of they haven't said it's Alzheimer's or dementia, but it's something like that, like he forgets a lot of things. And he had written her a letter saying that he saw the girl, and, he meant this girl who had gone missing. So the weird thing about this book, and for those of you who have read it, it's actually told in a very, very odd timeline. So the book starts with her getting this letter from her dad and her brother calling her and saying, we need to sell dad's house because he's run out of money. And, nobody's been living in the house for a year because the dad's been in this assisted living facility. And so she comes back. And so they kind of deal with that first day of her being back in town and stuff. And then it jumps ahead 15 days. And then it's essentially the end of what happens. Like it's not the resolution, but it's the last day, they're calling it. And then the timeline goes back a day it keeps going back in time. So you start at 15 days out, and then you're jumping to 14 days, 13 days. So you're reading it in reverse, essentially, as to how a story narrative would normally go. And it's interesting, but it's a little confusing. A couple times I've caught myself listening to it, and, the main character, she's narrating it. It's from her perspective. It's being narrated by a woman by the name of Rebecca. I want to say Ross is her last name, but I'm not absolutely certain. And it's narrated in first person, and she'll be like, oh, I haven't seen so-and-so in a couple of weeks. And I'm thinking, well, you just saw her. Oh, no, wait. That's the next day. You haven't gotten there yet. Does that make sense? It's very, very weird, but it's interesting. And so far I'm enjoying it. I want to find out who done it. I want to find out what happened to this girl. Oh, and that's the other part of it too, is that this 15 days that it jumps forward is that another girl has gone missing. Not as like the first girl who went missing was only 18. This girl was 23, so she's still young, but not as young as the first girl. So yeah, so far I'm really enjoying it. I'm actually about 80% of the way through it. I got a lot of this read today, and yeah, like I said, I'm enjoying it. So I'm interested to see how it's going to end, and I'll definitely let you guys know my final thoughts tomorrow. My ebook that I'm reading is Dear Santa by Nancy Ningle. I should get this one done tomorrow as well. I'm about 80% of the way through this one too. I'm really enjoying it. This is a very, very sweet story. It's very, very tame. So far. I don't see it jumping to that adult content place. It doesn't seem like that type of story. And I'm liking it. There's a lot of back and forth between the two main characters. So, you know, as I've mentioned before in this vlog, it's a Christmas reimagining or retelling of the movie You've Got Mail. And she's got this small little Christmas shop that's very high end, and he's got almost like a Walmart type store that is coming in to, and it's called Christmas Galore, but they don't just sell Christmas things, they sell like all kinds of things. Like touristy stuff, and like, you know, it keeps getting mentioned that the stuff that they sell isn't gonna will just survive this one holiday season, and then you're gonna have to buy a new one next year kind of idea, whereas her place is more heirloom pieces and stuff like that. What I don't like is that she's blaming him for the fact that she's gonna have to close her store, when in reality her store was in trouble prior to his big store coming to town. So yeah, so I'm enjoying it. It's a cute little read. It's a really fun Christmas book. I know a number of her books, I think 3 of them, have been made into Hallmark Channel Christmas movies. So I can absolutely see this one fitting the bill as well, this being that kind of a book. So if those are your kind of movies that you like at Christmas time, those Hallmark romance, kind of cheesy, fun, this is definitely the book you need to check out. But again, I will give you my final thoughts on that one tomorrow. And my current print book, I am still reading Out of Bounds by Ellen Hartman, obviously. I'm about 80 pages into this so far. I'm really enjoying it. So as I mentioned, it's about a basketball player, and you know, he's been injured and he's come home because his brother's given him a job. Well, the whole other part of the story is that Posey, our main female lead, her mother calls her and is like, I need your help. So she goes, and her mother, and it's so funny that I'm reading this book because of the Dear Santa book. Her mother owns and runs a Christmas themed store as well. So I'm reading 2 books that have like these Christmas themed stores. So anyway, her mother runs this store, and they heard that this foundation was going to be coming to town, and her mom wanted to do something to raise some money. So her mom has a little blog that people like who go to her store, and she has a lot of collectibles that they follow this blog, and she posted this. Well, it got picked up by another blogger in town who has many, many, many more followers than she does. And all of a sudden, the next thing she knows, she's got $80,000 worth of donations. But the mom, who sounds to be a little bit scatterbrained and things like that, a friend of hers, you know, kind of gave this sob story that I need the money, and I promise I'm going to pay you back as soon as the bank does this or something happens. And essentially she got the money off the mother and then proceeded to declare bankruptcy, and all of her assets were frozen. So the mother does not have this money now to give the foundation, and it's been promised to them. So, and plus all the people who donated are obviously thinking that this money is going to go to this foundation, and the money doesn't exist anymore. So the mom has headed out of town to go talk to her aunt, I guess, who has money, and she wants her to, like, you know, is hoping she's going to lend her this money. And Posey is now having to play offense, essentially, to use a basketball term, to this guy named Wes. It's Wes? Yes, Wes, to where her mother is, and the check will be coming. So that's pretty much the point I'm at now. They've just met for the first time, and you know, she's trying to hold him off and stuff like that. So, you know, I wasn't too sure about this book at first. I thought, oh, it'll just be a cute little kind of basketball type contemporary romance. But with this added thing about this whole donations and this money being like used and, you know, gone, it's turned really, really interesting, and I'm really enjoying it. So anyway, guys, that is it for this little clip. Kind of a little bit of a shorter one. And yeah, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys. Hi, guys. It is October the 11th, and it is just before 7 p.m. at night. I've been home for about 20 minutes. I'm actually recording this relatively right when I got home. I came in, did a couple dishes, trying to decide what I'm going to have for dinner tonight. So I thought I'd sit down here and have a little chat with you guys before the night got away from me. Because that's what's been happening. And I actually left work on time today. This is one of the first times in over a month that I've actually left the office on time. I just decided I've put in enough overtime and I'm okay with not getting any overtime for today. Hi guys, it is October the 11th, it's Thursday, and it's just before 7 p.m. at night. I've been home for about 20 minutes. I came in, I fed the cats, and I was in the kitchen. I'm trying to decide what I'm going to have for dinner, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to sit down and talk to you guys real quick before the rest of the evening gets away from me. This is the first night in probably about a month that I actually left work on time. So that was a bonus, and I actually didn't even get to work until my normal start time. So I pulled a normal day today, hours wise. I've been getting quite a bit of overtime, around an hour a day, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're doing it every single day, it's tiring. And, you know, especially now with it's getting darker at night earlier. And I mean, it's 7 o'clock and it's dark out. Like the street lights were coming on as I was driving up the street. It's just you know, it just feels like you don't have as much time at night when it gets darker, even though you do have the same amount of time. It's all perception, but you know, because it gets dark so early, it's going to really suck when it gets dark at 4:30 at night. But anyway, so yeah, so I left the office normal time tonight. We're still freaking busy. It's still insane. It's still all those things. But I'm just like, you know what, I can't do anymore. And, you know, nothing that I had on my plate couldn't wait until tomorrow. So I came home. So I can have a nice relaxing evening in tonight. And it also got cold. I think I was saying yesterday that it was like so warm yesterday. It was humid. I actually had the air conditioning unit on, like not the air itself, but I had the fan on. And it is cool now. Like it is, like I needed my coat when I left the office, so the temperature is very steadily dropped throughout the day. And again, not complaining, I much prefer the cooler weather. But anyway, let's jump into what I have read today. Bless you, the cat is sneezing. I have the back door cracked open about that much just to let some fresh air in. I like to open the windows and doors when I can, just to keep that fresh air going, because come winter it's going to be sealed up because it's just going to be too cold to do that. So he's kind of got his nose pressed to the screen door, checking out the neighbors. So anyway, what have I read today? I finished 2 books today, you guys. That is super exciting. So I'll start off with my ebook, which was All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda. This was narrated on audio by Rebecca Ross, I think her name is. This was a thriller. 3.5 stars, I think I'm giving it for my final rating. As I told you guys in yesterday's little clip, this is kind of told in reverse, where you are, you know, you're given the beginning of the story and then you're jumped ahead 2 weeks in time. And then it slowly backtracks, you know, day 15, day 14, day 13, and that's how it's kind of broken out. And then it jumps back to the end again and kind of gives you the rest of that little bit of the story. It was interesting. I liked the way that it was told. I liked that aspect of it. It was different. And I have to say, when I was finished it, my first thought was, well, the author kind of had to do that, or else it would have made for a very boring and or short story. Because the events in between, this is just my opinion, if they'd been read in correct order, there's something that's revealed on like the first or second day, which you of course don't find out till the end. And if you found that out at the very beginning, it would have been like, oh, well, what more of the story do I really have to read? Because the ending, I don't want to give anything away. It's a thriller. I'm going to say the ending was meh. It was rather anticlimactic. When everything was revealed, it was kind of like, oh, okay. I didn't know it. Like, I didn't guess it. I'm not one of those person who tries to guess anyway. I mean, if something is blatantly obvious, then you kind of figure it out. but I don't listen to or read a book like that and you know, try and be like, oh, was it this or was it this? Oh, the clues. And you know, sometimes you do, but most of the time I don't do that. And this wasn't one that I did that. You know, I kind of had my suspicions about a couple of the characters, but you know, in general, when the ending was revealed, I was surprised, but I still found it anticlimactic. Does that make sense? You know, it was like I expected it to be more. It was, I don't want to use the word tame, but it wasn't that, I don't know. There's just something about it, which is why I only gave it 3.5 stars. It was very well written. I like the characters. They all had their, they were all flawed, very flawed characters in this story. So I don't know if I mentioned it yesterday, but the quick basis or the quick plot of this book is that a girl comes home to a woman. Her name is Nicola, I think, but she goes by Nick. Comes home to deal with the selling of her father's house. Her father's in an assisted living facility, and it goes back to talking about, you know, how her best friend, missing, presumed dead 10 years earlier. Now another girl's gone missing. Not a girl. She's a 23-year-old. And, you know, and then kind of what happens. And like I said, it kind of goes back in time, or is a reverse plot essentially. But the other thing is too that made it a little bit confusing, and maybe it would have been easier reading it as a print book. I don't know whether they had the page breaks to tell you what was going on, but when you're listening to it on audio, you don't have that unless there's a definite feel of a break. Not only did they go backwards in time, they also went back to the past, like to 10 years earlier. So it was really jumping kind of all over the place in time, and it was okay once you kind of figured it out, but sometimes it would take a little bit, be like, all right, are we talking about the past or the present right now? So I don't know, for those of you who read it as a print book, you know, did you find that as well, or was it just me? So anyway, end of the day, it wasn't a bad read. I enjoyed it, but when it comes to thrillers, and I don't read a lot of thrillers, you guys know that, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't, I'm not saying rush out and read it, but if the premise sounds, interesting to you, definitely give it a try. Every time I sit down here, I have the hiccups. I don't know why. So the second book I finished today was, of course, Dear Santa by Nancy Ningle. I've talked about this book for the last few days, so I'm not going to reiterate it again. I really, really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I think I'm going to give it 4 stars. I have to update my Goodreads now that I'm home. Once I get into my jammies, my PJs, and I'm having some dinner, I'll update my Goodreads and spreadsheets and all that fun stuff. Yeah, I liked it. You know, the one takeaway I can give you guys is if you enjoy the Hallmark Christmas movies that come out every year, you need to read this book. It's tame, it's sweet. The romance is not, there's no sort of insta-love in this at all. It's a very long and drawn-out romance. And even towards the end, it's still, you know, it happens not out of nowhere. You kind of know that these two people are going to end up together, but I think it's even a surprise to them. But it's a really, really cute story, and I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't read any more of my Sweet Valley High book last night. I was exhausted by the time I got home from picking up my husband from work. I just went to bed, and so I'll catch up on that a bit tonight probably. And I am still, obviously, still reading. I am now, what page am I on? I'm on page 93, but I hope to get to like 120 today. That's one of my goals. I have my little tabbies here of how far I want to get in this book every day. But I'm still reading Out of Bounds by Ellen Hartman. I am really enjoying this one. It's taken a slight twist from what I was telling you guys yesterday, that the mother has gone to go see her aunt. I don't know if it's the daughter's aunt or the mother's aunt, to go see if she can borrow the money, and the daughter's just found out that no, her mother did not do that. I guess the aunt told her right away that no, we can't lend you the money. The main character, Posey, her cousin Maddie, is actually a nun. There's a whole conversation. It's actually pretty cool to see like a more modern day nun. Can I use that terminology? Like, does that sound right? Like, you know, she's of course following the practices and things that she needs to follow and stuff like that. Like, there's one they're talking about how good looking, how Posey is saying how good looking Wes is, and Posey makes a comment to her saying something, and not comments of a sexual nature, but talking about him in that way, how good looking he is and things like that. And she says, well, should I be talking to you about this? And she says something about, we practice abstinence. We're not prudes. Like, these things happen. We know that this happens. We just don't do it ourselves, essentially. So it's really, really refreshing to read, like, other than the fact that she's a nun, you wouldn't think that she's any different than, you know, any other very, very good friend of Posey's. And she says in the story they're almost like sisters. So anyway, the mother has taken off and is staying at the, what is it called? The place where nuns live. The convent? Is that it? That she's actually there on a silent retreat. Pretty much hiding out until the daughter figures it out. Like, figures out how to fix all this. So, you know, if it were my mother, I'd be a little cheesed off, but whatever. We'll see where the story goes. So yeah, so this is, again, a book I did not expect this to be, but I'm really, really enjoying it. So anyway, guys, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this update. Tomorrow's Friday, everybody. Sorry, I keep trying to put my book up here and it's not sitting there now. Tomorrow's Friday. I'm so happy. It's the weekend. I have 4 more days of work and a math class, evidently, until I'm on vacation. And I can't wait. And yeah, anyway, that's it. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye. Hi guys, happy Friday. It is October the 12th and it is just after 7 o'clock at night. I have been home for about a half an hour. I left work just a little bit early today. Not really, I didn't like leave early. I actually stayed, I actually got about a half an hour of overtime because I worked through my lunch today. My coworker had to leave around lunchtime and he was gone for the rest of the day because his best friend is getting married today. And her wedding was at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So he had to leave and get downtown. I guess they really wanted to get married this year or something like that. It was the only time the church was available and what have you. So anyway, he headed off to that. So it was busy this afternoon for me. So I worked through my lunch because I figured, you know, this way I can leave for sure on time at least. And I actually, you know, I would normally leave at 6 and I figured, well, since I didn't take a lunch, you know, technically I'm already working an extra hour because I get an hour for lunch. I just thought I'm just going to leave at 5:30 instead of 6. So I only worked an extra half an hour today. But yeah, so it is cold out. As you can see, I've got my hooded sweatshirt on because it got cold. Like Tuesday and Wednesday, it was really, really warm. I mean, to the point that we actually had all the fans on and with the windows open because it was just so humid those days. And then yesterday afternoon, the temperature just went bloop like this. And today, it was like 9 degrees when I left the house this morning. I don't think it's gotten much warmer. You know, so to my American friends, 9 Celsius would be 18, 30, 48, so about 50 Fahrenheit roughly. I love it. I love the fall. I love this weather. I wore one of my hand knit hats to work today, and I have my hand knit socks on. So this is knitter weather essentially. So it makes me very, very happy. But yeah, so I'm just trying to think of book-wise. That's why you guys are here. Book-wise today, I actually started and finished a book today. It was an audiobook. The one thing at work, because they have us doing some other projects, we're still in this like system meltdown. That's what I'm calling it. You know, we're having a lot of issues and things are going on, and we're trying to correct things and get things moving the way they're supposed to be. So customer service was actually taken off the phones and has been for almost the entire week. We have not been on the phones, which is the bulk of our job, is that we're the front line, like customer service. You call somewhere, you're going to get customer service. So it's been actually the sales guys who have been on the phone. And they'll just pop us an email saying so-and-so is looking for this or whatever. But it gets us off that call that can take a bit longer and lets us focus on other things. So because I didn't have to be on the phone and have that headset on all day, I actually popped in my audiobook and I started and finished the whole thing. Sorry, something just freaked me out. I've got a hair. I've got my phone propped up against something and there's a hair. And it's like I'm looking down the hall, which is dark right now, and it kind of creeped me out a little bit. Sorry. I'm seeing things. That's what I get for not wearing my glasses. So anyway, I got to start and finish an audiobook today. Granted, the audiobook was only 5 hours long, and I did, of course, speed it up. But yeah, so I got that done today. So that was Lasting Pride by Jill Sanders. It is the 4th book in the Pride series. This is a small town contemporary romance series. It is available on audio from the Audible Romance package, which is where I've listened to. I think I read the first one, and then the other 3 so far I have listened to on audio. They're narrated by Tanya Eby, who I adore. And yeah, it's a fun little contemporary romance series. It's not one of my favorites, but it's entertaining enough. I'm giving this one 3.5 stars. Um, the whole premise of the story is about a woman named Roberta, who she goes by Rob. And, excuse me, she had a very difficult childhood growing up. Her father ended up passing away, and she ended up falling into a gang. And right at the beginning of the book, you find this out, like within the first 10 minutes, that this gang of kids that she was running with, they actually were killed, all of them, in a drive-by shooting, and she was spared. Like, for whatever reason, she just didn't end up getting killed. The bullets didn't hit her. And that night that happened, it turned her life around, and she ended up going through the police force. You know, you've seen this kind of trope, or this kind of like cliched thing go through with stories. And she's now, like, of course, one of the youngest detectives in the Portland police force, and blah blah blah. And on one of her cases, the story begins, she meets Rick, and he's the owner of a very, very very high-end art gallery. And he has just had a break-in, and they've stolen millions of dollars worth of paintings, and one of his employees were killed. So the two of them are kind of working together to find out who done it. So there is that bit of intrigue in this as well, which I really enjoyed, and I think it took it up a notch. My issue is that the story is part of the Pride series, and you did meet Rick briefly in one of the other books, and he's not a favorite of mine. He seemed very stuck up, very full of himself, that kind of thing. Of course, he redeems himself in this book, but I just, the fact is that it's a Pride novel. It's only the last third of the book do they actually end up back in Pride, Oregon. So, like, the bulk of the story takes place in Portland, and then it moves because, of course, they have to go to a safe house at some point. I don't want to give away too much of the plot. They have to go to a safe house, and they end up going back to this small town that he knows a lot of people, and then you run into characters from the previous books and stuff like that. And that's the one thing I love about small town contemporary romance, is that you're seeing characters that you've seen in previous books. You know, it might just be something like so-and-so walks into a coffee shop and they see a character from book number 2 or something like that. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of fun to see where they are now. Like, is she pregnant? Are they married now? Blah, blah, blah. You know, all those things. And because you were missing that, it was a little bit of a disappointment to me. The other thing was, and this is the thing that gets me with all romance, and I know they have to establish that romantic element. Maybe it's because the book was shorter that, you know, you had to do that a little bit quicker. But, like, she shows up at the crime scene. There's a dead body on the ground, and he's checking her out. One of his employees is dead, and he's checking her out. No. It just, you know what I mean? Like, things like that just kind of, and you see it quite often in romance. It's like, you know, and I'm just thinking, is this really appropriate? Could you wait until later? You know what I mean? It gets hot and spicy towards the end of the book with the two of them. And of course, family secrets are revealed and things like that. It was enjoyable. I liked it. 3.5 stars, like I said. You know, if you like small town contemporary romance and you have the Audible romance package and you're looking for a new series to kind of delve into, there's only 6 books in this series. She has now written a companion series called Pride, Oregon. This one's just called The Pride. The follow-up series is like The Next Generation, essentially. And there's only 3 books in that series. So in total, you're looking at 9 books. It's not that heavy of an investment. And again, considering these are shorter audiobooks, the books themselves only run about 250 pages. So, you know, it's not a huge investment, depending on how quickly you read. My current ebook is For His Brother's Wife by Kathy Danowski. This is a desire novel, and it is the final book. I think it's book 6 or book 7 in the Texas Cattlemen's Club After the Storm series. This is one of the books, one of the series I'm working my way through for the Stacking the Series Challenge, and this is the last one, I'm pretty sure. So the premise of this story is about a man by the name of Cole, and I cannot remember the woman's name, I do apologize. I'm maybe a chapter into this. I did not get a lot of actual ebook reading done today. His twin brother was killed in the storm a year ago. So it's been a year since the initial storm took place, and all these other stories have taken place since then. So if you haven't been watching me and you're not familiar with this series, it's a mini-series for the Blaze series, or the Desire series, and it's about a tornado that rips through this small town of Royal, Texas. And all the stories that happen after are all the aftermath to all the characters. And it's been really, really interesting and really enjoyable seeing how this small town is kind of banded together and how the characters have done and stuff like that. And again, that small town contemporary romance feel where you're running into other characters and you're hearing about other characters in previous books. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Surprising because I wasn't on the phones today. Um, and yeah, so anyway, his brother was killed a year ago in the tornado, and he is now helping his brother's widow rebuild the farm because he was killed in the barn, and there was some bad blood between him and his twin. 8-10 years ago, they got into a massive fight and they've stopped talking to each other. The last time they saw each other was at their father's funeral, kind of idea. But he's always been in love with her. And, of course, at the beginning of the book, you start to find out that, throughout the series, they've been talking about her losing her husband and, how devastated she is and stuff like that. But now that it's her story, you're hearing it from her perspective that it wasn't much of a marriage. They were sleeping in separate rooms and, things like that. And perhaps they got married for the sole fact that she at the time was pregnant. They were very young. They were only 18 when they got married or something like that. So this one should be a standard cliched, tropey kind of contemporary romance. These are very soap opera-y in my opinion, but they're really enjoyable. And my goal is to get this one finished this weekend. And yeah, that's really about it for the reading, you guys. There's only one other little thing that I really wanted to talk about, if you'll indulge me just for a minute. It's related to my channel. So I've been doing some work on my blog, and I've been trying to get it all set up again, and I'm making myself a schedule for, reviews that I want to get posted up there, and, I kind of have been spending my weekends, some part of my weekends, like actually typing out some reviews and stuff like that. Excuse me. And, I really wanted to ramp that up as a place to put my reviews, essentially. And I think it was a little over around a year ago, is when I changed my channel name. My original channel name was Novel Expectations. And then I changed it to Not Just Romance Novels to kind of more encompass the fact that that's the bulk of what I read. That's 85 to 90% of the books that I read are romance in some form or another. Historical, contemporary, intrigue, some paranormal, you guys know. It's mostly romance. And that's why, and it was a very quick pick. The idea came to me, I wrote it down, I kind of went with it. I didn't really put a lot of thought into it. I like it, don't get me wrong, but I just don't know how I feel about it. Like, I don't know if it's too, not kitschy, but is it, like, I find sometimes this, and maybe this is just me, but it's not completely memorable. Does that make sense? Like, I hear some people will mention my channel on their channels, and I mean, that's super exciting, but you always get, they'll say the channel name and go, I hope I got that right. So, like, it's not, that's what I mean by not being memorable. Like, it's a little more difficult for people to kind of, you know what I mean? So originally I was going to have the blog and the YouTube channel have the exact same name. I hate to use this term because it makes it sound like I'm some big important person, and I know I'm not, but for branding, like, this is who I am. Does that make sense? So I have renamed the blog, and it is now Steeped in Books. And steeped is a play on, of course, tea. I love tea. So I just thought it was kind of cute and kind of kitschy and kind of, it was me. It's, a little punny, stuff like that. I just thought it was cute. So that's what I did, is I renamed the blog. But now the YouTube channel is still, of course, Not Just Romance Novels. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up changing the channel name. So in the next week or so, if you guys see the new channel name, this is what I've done. But I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you like it? Do you not like it? I kind of love it. And to be honest, I'm probably going to change it anyway, regardless if people tell me I think it's stupid, because I like it. And I just think it's cute. I've got a cute little graphic up on the blog. So, of course, it will be linked in the description box below if you guys want to go check it out. I just, like I said, I'm just trying to get more into actual written reviews instead of just being here and talking to you guys, because this is great too. But I kind of like having that written review and having that other media to be able to do reviews and stuff like that, especially because I'm reading a lot for NetGalley now and for Read Bliss, and I'm hoping to maybe get contacted by some other publishers to, perhaps review some things. I think that would be great. It's something that I really like to delve into, essentially. So yeah, so I just wanted to kind of mention that. So if you see that channel name change happen, that is why. I'm kind of branding everything together. So that way people who think of that name, that Steeped in Books, will know that that's me here and that's me over. Does that make sense? So I'll probably be changing my Twitter handle as well, and possibly my my Instagram, which I haven't posted on Instagram or Twitter in forever. I posted on Twitter today for the first time in forever because this weekend coming up, I've got to start remembering to mention the vlog before, so you guys have like time to prepare. This weekend, guys, is the Create Your Own Readathon weekend. Surprise! So, please do join. Let me know. Post on Twitter, post on Instagram, tag me. Let me know if you're participating. I plan on trying to get 8 hours of reading done this weekend. That's my goal. 8 hours out of the 24 hours this weekend. So like I've said before, the Create Your Own Readathon is do whatever you like. Do whatever makes you happy. However, you know, if your goal is to finish a certain book, if your goal is to finish 6 books, if, you know, you want to start, you know, a new book or something, whatever your goal is, whatever your readathon goal is, go for it. Last thing before I let you guys go, I did not mean for this to be that long, but we're having a little bit of discussion at the end, is it got mentioned in my last video, somebody asked, and it reminded me. I had talked about when I did the summer romance book bingo about doing a Christmas one or a holiday one. So yes, there is going to be a holiday romance or a holiday book bingo. I'm not going to specify romance because I want it to be a little bit more all-inclusive for everybody. So it's going to be a holiday book bingo, and I'm going to create another bingo card just like I did. So I want some input from you guys because it's still like a month or so away. Now, here's the thing. Do you guys want it to just run for the month of December, or would you like to start it a little bit earlier, like maybe American Thanksgiving, and then have it run until New Year's Eve, or have it run until Christmas Eve, or something like that? Let me know, because if I think American Thanksgiving is on the 24th of November, so if we ran it till the 24th of December, there's your month. And so let me know what you're looking at for a time period. What I'm thinking is it's not to get a full card. Again, that was my goal for the summer because it ran over 3 months. But what I'm thinking is to get a line. Your goal is to get a line. You know, however you want to do it, you just need to get a line. And I want suggestions from you guys on categories. I have a bunch of them that I've been thinking about. I've been writing them down in a notebook. You know, read a Christmas romance. Read a Christmas historical. You know, fiction or nonfiction. You know, read a Christmas nonfiction book. You know, I'm trying to really open it up a bit more so we can, you know, get a lot of people. Read a thriller set at Christmas time or during the winter season. I don't want to completely specify that it's got to be Christmas because there's a lot of different religions and different holidays that are celebrated at this time of year or at the, you know, at the holiday season. You know, there's Hanukkah, of course, and Kwanzaa and Yule for any of my neo-pagan friends out there. So yeah, so let me know. You know, read a holiday anthology. Like, I've got a lot of ideas that I've written down, but I want suggestions from you guys because what I want to do is you kind of need 25 categories for a bingo card. I'm not going to do the free space. So you need 25 categories, but if I can get more than 25, essentially what will happen is that literally everyone will have different cards. And you might have categories on your card that I don't have on mine. And then when you get that card, you can look at it and say, okay, I need to get a line to get a bingo. Then you can look to see, you know, which is going to be the easiest for me to get, and you know, and then build your TBR that way for the bingo. So again, please post suggestions in the comments below of categories that you guys would like to see, that you guys would be interested. And, you know, I'm just going to build upon them. And then if we do this again next year, we have a whole bunch of stuff to pick from. So yeah, so please do let me know. Anyway, guys, that's it. I got to go. I'm getting pop-ups on my phones because my friends are wondering where I am. We are going to do a group chat tonight because I haven't chatted with them in person, well, in video person in a little while. And I will talk to you guys in my next video. Oh, video's coming up next week. Sorry, I promise after this I'll let you go. It is going to be my mid-month wrap-up is coming up next week. And I've got another discussion video coming up. I wasn't originally going to do this, but I saw another booktuber, because I'm a little bit behind on booktube videos. She posted this, I think, in early September. And it was a discussion about the size of your TBR and is that intimidating? And I kind of have a response video to her video. Her name is Christy Reviews. I will leave a link to her channel in that video. So that's going to probably come out on Thursday. So stay tuned for that as well. And until my next video, guys, take care and happy reading. Thank you so much for watching these. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying them, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody.